Ramadan, that always comes to mind, which is like worship actually builds willpower. So when I'm fasting on time 5 times a day, my willpower is at peak. I can actually get more done because I know I have limited time. I have to get it done by this time, right?
Hi, my name is Moe Ghias. Essentially, I'm a kid who's obsessed with winning.
Hello. Welcome to Healthy Systems Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Moe. And today's episode is unlike any of the ones I've done recently. I know I've been talking a lot about insulin resistance and cortisol and a lot of the weight loss / fitness and training and nutrition topics. But today we'll actually talk about Ramadan, and we'll talk about how this Ramadan has helped me not only stay focused, but also it has helped me really learn a lot of the life lessons that it just solidified it, because this Ramadan has been by far one of the best Ramadans of my life in all different areas. And I think that was due to some of the changes that I've been making and some of the routines that I adapted. Today, at the time of this recording, it's actually day 22 of Ramadan. And by the time this episode gets released, it'll likely be at the end of Ramadan, or it might have already ended, inshallah. So either way, I'm sharing these lessons partially for selfish reasons, because by this time next year when Ramadan comes, I'll be able to watch this episode for myself, listen to this episode and be like, oh, those were the things I was doing that were working really well in 2025 Ramadan. Because every year, if we don't record things, we think we'll just remember it. And oftentimes our memory isn't that good. So like by the time Ramadan comes back a year later, we have to start from ground zero. We have to literally start with nothing. And we're like, all right, let's get into it. And half the time we have forgotten most things that are working well. So this Ramadan, let's reflect on how it's been going. So I'll share the 5 powerful lessons that I've learned. And then toward the second half of the episode, I'll even talk about my exact meal plan. I'll also talk about my training. And then I'll also talk about my hydration routine that actually kept me lean. This Ramadan, mashallah, I've been the leanest I've ever been during Ramadan, outside of competition. So there was a couple times in Ramadan in the last 10 years when I was competing in physique, men's physique or fitness modeling. And during those days, I was been much leaner than I am now, but that was not sustainable. You don't compete every year, or that's not something I want to do, because that was very extreme. This year, it's been, alhamdulillah, it's been not extreme whatsoever, and it's been very good, and I've been able to maintain a very good physique, and also been giving a lot of time to the faith, going to the masjid, praying, reading Quran. So this year I felt the most balanced. So let's dive into it. So the first lesson this Ramadan actually taught me was, it's going to be good, which is patience is a superpower. What does that mean? Well, when you're fasting, and a lot of you can attest to this, when you're fasting, you're sleep deprived, you're hungry, you are thirsty, and your stress levels are there because you still have to, at your job and your business, at your career, people don't care you're fasting. Nobody even knows you're fasting most of the time. So your stress levels will be higher because you're expected to have the same output that other people are having who are not fasting, right? So it's easier to actually get snappy. It's easier to get a little, triggered or angry. This year, and I think this is something I've been doing recently, last couple of years, but this Ramadan has been really nice and helpful, which is I practiced pausing before reacting. So what I mean is, a lot of the time when stimulus comes at you, somebody says something, maybe even your loved ones, your relatives, your family members, your parents, your kids, your spouse, they say something. And a lot of the time in Ramadan, since you're hungry and you're thirsty and you're sleep deprived, it's easier to give the wrong reaction to the wrong person, and then you feel bad. But this Ramadan, I've been very, very careful to not react without pausing. So I try to give myself a few seconds before I react. And even despite that much care, it still happens once in a while, right? So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but when I'm praying, I'm trying to practice more khushu. So just being more present, because when you're more present, you can actually control your responses better, right? So instead of you being on the road and just honking at the driver and calling them names because they're going too slow, it's like in Ramadan, you should act a little better and should be a little bit more patient and be like, oh, this is a great test for my patience. Because patience, like anything, is a muscle, and you get stronger every time you practice it. So you get stronger by holding back. You get stronger by pausing. So patience is a superpower. That was the first thing I learned. And a lot of the time, and the reason I called it a superpower is because sometimes somebody would say something and I would want to react, but I would wait a couple seconds. I would just process it mentally and just use silence as like a way to like just create space for a second. 5 or 10 seconds later, I realized it wasn't even that big of a deal, or like not saying anything still did good. You know what I mean? So at times, patience is a superpower because you cause more problems when you're just always reactive and reactive and reactive to things. Some things aren't worth responding to. Okay. So that's number one. The second thing I learned was actually related to the first one, which is silence is strength. So not everything needs to be said. Not every opinion deserves a response. So far too often in Ramadan, we often forget that, hey, like your brain is hungry and thirsty. So it's more likely to pass judgment fast and it's likely to conserve calories. So in those moments, just try to stay quiet and then just stay in the peace state internally. And if you're around certain people that just are chaotic or drama type people, this is going to be harder for you. So try to like not hang out with those people as much, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you're mentally at peace, your life will be much better and Ramadan will be much easier. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, this one is powerful, and every Ramadan reminds me of this, and somehow I forget it, which is food is emotional. So let me explain what I mean. So most of us eat to avoid discomfort. So whenever we're uncomfortable, whenever something bad happens, whenever we get stressed, something happened at our work, we stress eat, we emotional eat, we try to cope with food, right? We go to a coffee shop, we got matcha latte, we got something. We just use food as a way to like kind of change our mood, change our environment, internal environment. And Ramadan, more than anything, it strips that away. It takes that away from you because you're fasting. Right. There have been times in my life when I've gotten bad news during the month of Ramadan, and it was hard to process because I'm like, I have to really sit with this because I can't go to a coffee shop. I can't go to a restaurant. I can't get out. Like, I have to sit with this, which just forces you to sit with your emotions. Right. And I think that's one of the best things in Ramadan because it just forces you not to put things under the rug. It forces you to face them. So you face emotions. And another thing that happens is you start facing emotions you might have been numbing for years. So it is very normal in Ramadan to be a little down at times, or maybe you went through something tragic or sad a couple of years ago, and during the normal year, you don't even think about it. But then during Ramadan, it's like you're hungry, you're thirsty, and all of a sudden your brain just starts remembering those things. And it's okay, it's normal. You're gonna face emotions you probably have been putting under the rug for a little bit, and that's completely normal. So just remember that. And that just goes to the lesson, which is like food is emotional. And remember, we don't have access to food during the day in Ramadan. So then you're gonna feel emotions that you have been putting off, or you've been putting under the rug, or you haven't processed. That number four, this is a good one. Systems are greater than motivation. Again, systems are greater than motivation. If you have been a fitness client of mine ever, for the last like 7, 8 years, you know, I talk a lot about systems. I talk a lot about routines. I talk about how to make it as easy as possible for you to do the work, right? Put out your clothes the night before. Instead of going to the gym that's 20 minutes away, just work out at home. Make it as easy as possible for you to do the thing that needs doing. And that's a system. Right? Motivation means like, hey man, get motivated. Like you got to do this. Hey girl, like do it. Right? But it's like that fades away almost every single time. And the reason I think we're so effective, mashallah, as fitness coaches, and you know, we've trained over 1,500 clients in the last 9 years, last 8 years, is because we focus on systems and we don't believe in motivation very much. Obviously, we'll motivate you, we'll give you a motive to get started. But after that, we need systems in place that make it super easy for you to do the things that you said you were going to do. So in Ramadan, the reason this is applicable is because there were some nights I didn't feel like working out, and there were some nights I didn't feel like praying. There were some days I didn't feel like fasting, but I did it anyway, right? And Ramadan proved that I don't need the motivation. I need the hype. I needed the habits, because I would just wake up and I'm like, yeah, it just needs to be done. I just need to wake up at 5:30, and I need to eat my suhoor, and then I'm going to fast all day and I'm going to work during the day. And if I need, I'll take a nap after Zohar or after Asr in the afternoon. And then I'll wake up and I'll break my fast with my family, and then we'll pray Maghrib together. Like, it was just very systematic. It wasn't a lot of changes that like it needed to be done. I mean, I liked praying Tarawih at the masjid. So whenever I could go, I would literally drive over there and go. And I would like, yeah, I have to get it done, even if I would be up later or something like that. Like those systems in place really help. And Ramadan is one of the best systems, right? Like we know what time we stop eating, then we know what time we're going to start eating. We know what time the prayers will be. We know that, hey, we're going to fast on Saturday and Sunday. So it's not like, okay, we're going to fast during the day and no fasting on the weekend. It's like God's religion is so beautiful because it's like, hey, no, the game is on every single day. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you get to take Sunday off, like all or nothing. It's like, no, we're doing it every single day for 30 days. So that was so beautiful because that's a system, and systems beat motivation. And if you notice, you're able to do it during the month of Ramadan, right? Because people around you are doing it. So it creates that environment. But if you're in an environment where nobody else is fasting, it does get hard. And I've been in those environments during college days or in my corporate life or when I wasn't living with when my family wasn't living with me. So I know if some of you are in that place, it might be a little difficult, but just creating systems makes it easier because systems always win over motivation. Okay. And then the last one, this one is powerful, which is worship builds willpower. Just like fitness builds willpower. Matter of fact, when I started praying when I was little. I grew up in Pakistan, so we had a mosque nearby, and I would go with my grandpa, and that was my upbringing. But then later on in my life, when I got into fitness gave me that discipline. It taught me the power of consistently doing. And there's no like, oh, I'm going to work out for 3 months and then I'm going to stop. It's like, no, it's a lifelong campaign. You don't stop. You enjoy it and you continuously set new goals and you get better. That's what fitness is. Well, prayer is the same way. Worshiping is the same way. So in Ramadan, that always comes to mind, which is like worship actually builds willpower. So when I'm fasting on time 5 times a day, my willpower is at peak. I can actually get more done because I know I have limited time. I have to get it done by this time, right? And I've noticed my productivity actually went up by a lot during the month of Ramadan, even though I was hungry, even though I was thirsty, even though I was decaffeinated. I didn't have enough caffeine in my body. I just didn't have a lot of the tools that, normal people would have access to. But I still got a lot done. And I was like, man, this is good. I'm proud of myself because the worship I was doing was actually building willpower. It was actually making my inner resolve stronger. So spiritual discipline, it feeds into fitness. It also feeds into mindset and relationships and vice versa, right? So like if you develop the discipline of fitness and you learn how to stay consistent and exercise and train and eat healthy, I promise you it's going to help you in your religion and spiritual needs as well, because discipline can be transferred from one area to another. And that's the most beautiful part about it. One of the things I thank Allah and God for is He gave me the discipline of fitness at the age of 21. And now that I'm 30, I use that discipline for my career, for my business, for my work. I also use it with my family. I give them time because I know it's not like you love your family for 3 months and then you stop. No. It's a lifelong campaign, just like fitness is. So you transfer the same things over to fitness, and then same thing with your relationships, same thing with your health, and same thing with your, finances and all the other areas that are important to you. So at the end of the day, I'll sum up the 5 big lessons that I learned. 1, patience is a superpower. 2nd, use silence. Silence is strength in the month of Ramadan and every day after, because you'll never ruin something if you're like silent for a few seconds. But you can almost always F things up if you are not silent and you say the wrong thing at the wrong time, right? Number 3, food is emotional. So during the month of Ramadan, you don't have access to food, which means you'll feel emotions you might have been pushed under the rug, that you've been numbing. So Ramadan might bring up some feelings you haven't felt recently, and it'll be uncomfortable, but it's actually a good thing. Systems are greater than motivation. So Ramadan gives you a system to pray at a certain time, to set your fast at a certain time, open your fast. It's a full-on system. There's no thinking. You do it. And you're able to do it because it's a system. It doesn't require motivation. Islam doesn't say, hey, yeah, you can take Saturday, Sunday off because you aren't that motivated or you're this or that. No. You fast every single day for the 29 or 30 days that are allocated for that month. And then the last thing is worship builds willpower. When you have willpower, you can apply it to other areas of your life, like fitness, family, relationships, faith, etc. And now I'll just talk about the part 2 of this episode, which is how did I stay lean during the month of Ramadan? Because a lot of Muslims, about 66% of Muslims actually gain weight during the month of Ramadan. And I think one of the number one keys was I actually wrote an ebook on it. So I know Ramadan is ending by the time you're hearing it, but if you want the free ebook, just message me on my Instagram or Facebook. Just say, hey, Mo, can you send me the Ramadan ebook? And I'll love to send it over. We've given it away to over like thousands of people now. So you can definitely get it. But overall, here's like literally exactly what I ate day to day, and the things I added. So every morning I would wake up, in Michigan. So wake up in my house. I would wake up around like 5:30 because from most of the fasts, today we stopped eating at around 6:14 a.m. So I would wake up around 5:30. Brush my teeth, just go downstairs, and I would eat pretty much the same things because in the morning I don't have enough time to think differently. So first thing I would do is I would have 2 eggs. So 2 eggs, and then I would have 1 sourdough bread with it, like toast bread, and then I would take Greek yogurt, and then I would add 7 almonds to it, and then I would add half scoop of protein, whey isolate. So now I'm getting about 30 grams of protein from my Greek yogurt bowl. So I'm taking Greek yogurt, I'm adding half a scoop of protein in it, right? Now it's 15 grams of protein from the Greek yogurt, 15 grams of protein from the whey isolate. So now you got 30 grams, takes me 30 seconds to make it. I'm good. I'll sprinkle in some berries if I have, I'll sprinkle in some almonds, like I said, 7 of them. But that's like one side. Second side is that toast of sourdough bread with 2 eggs. That's my breakfast. And then for liquids, I liked making 1 cup of coffee in the morning. So I would quickly set my espresso machine, have 1 cup of coffee, throw in a Splenda for some sweetness, but it's black coffee with some Splenda in it. And that's the coffee. And then I gotten really into basil seeds this Ramadan. And those basil seeds has been really, really helpful. Not only do they have good fiber, not only are they good in calories, like they're not very high in calories, like 1 tablespoon is around 50 calories, but they also they have cooling effect on your body. So they actually like when you're eating food in the morning, you feel kind of like hot, but the basil seeds actually help cool you down, which has been really good. So that was my breakfast every day. Like that was my suhoor, right? 2 eggs, 1 toast of sourdough, 1 piece of sourdough bread, 1 Greek yogurt, half a scoop of protein powder, basil seeds, and then a cup of coffee with Splenda in it. That like literally I would consistently eat that for suhoor. And that like literally was like the eggs have been super good for my brain. So like right after I finish suhoor, I pray Fajr and then I get to work. I don't go back to sleep just because imagine with like 500 calories of that food, super nutritious food. If I go to bed, by the time I wake up at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., I'm going to actually be groggy and sluggish because that food has been sitting in my stomach and my brain needs something to wake up because it's been sleeping. I can't drink water and I can't drink coffee. So it's such a horrible setup to like not have a productive day if you sleep after suhoor, I think. So I personally, this is something that works really well for me. I get right into work because I just had my coffee, get right into work. And then I'm able to like do the hardest thing I have to do that day in the first thing in the morning. So I do that first thing. And then I have calls and I continue to work. And during the meetings, sometimes like, let's say I have like 5 to 10 meetings that day. At times I would start losing focus just because no coffee, no water, eventually your brain gets tired. So around like noontime, 2 p.m. or so, what I would do is first, if it was sunny out, I would go for a walk. And that was another thing that really helped is I prioritized walking this Ramadan more than in the past. So I would try to get, at least 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And the way I did it is like I have my walking desk at home. So I have a standing desk and then I have the walking treadmill. And then I would just, during meetings that were like 1 hour, 2 hour long, I would walk on the treadmill at the speed of 1 mile per hour. And those steps were adding up. And then if it was sunny out, I live in Michigan. So this Ramadan was in March, the month of March. So it's still winter-ish, winter to spring. So some days is really cold. Like today we're getting some snow flurries and it's kind of chilly. But like last couple of days it was sunny and it was in the 60s. So I would always go for a walk. It was sunny out. And that walk has a couple of benefits. One, it wakes you up. So even if you're fasting, walking outdoors, getting some fresh air really wakes you up. Second thing it does is now you're absorbing some sunlight. So you're getting some sunlight, 10, 15 minutes. Now you're vitamin D deficient, likely, right? And that's like another thing that most of us, like, especially Ramadan being in the winter, we forget to supplement. So now we're vitamin D deficient, we're iron deficient, we're zinc deficient, and those just cause problems. So getting some sunlight has been super nice. So those are like a couple of ways that I stay alert and active while I'm like, in meetings all day, even while fasting without coffee and water. So I had my suhoor. I've been working all day. So then I'll look at my schedule. If I have a little gap between 2 to 3 p.m., because I get to work from home, I'm very blessed like that. So what I do is like I would take a nap. So if I get done with my workday at like 3, 4 p.m., I would take an hour or 2 hour nap because at night I'm only able to get 3 to 4 hours of sleep due to Taraweeh and being up and having to wake up in the morning. So I try to make up some sleep. So if I can take a nap, sometimes my body forces me. Like I would go just like literally just lay in my bed and try to like watch some Islamic lecture or some YouTube video, and like I literally just fall asleep. Like my body's like, oh, I need some sleep. So at the end of the day, getting that nap in was super huge. So I'm able to get my work done. I'm doing all of that. So, and I also, another thing I forgot to mention is I added coconut water in my day to day for hydration during Ramadan. So I would break my fast with coconut water, and then to make it even better, I would take that coconut water, I would add basil seeds in that coconut water. So now I'm getting the electrolytes from the coconut water, and I'm getting the basil seed, which is, if you're from the India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, basil seeds are also known as tukmalanga, which is the word we use in our language. So if you're not familiar with basil seeds, it's the same thing as tukmalanga, same exact thing. Some people do chia seeds. I realized in Ramadan you should do basil seeds, and you have to try basil seeds over chia seeds. Chia seeds don't bloom as much in water. Chia seeds are also higher in fats, whereas basil seeds are actually lower in fats, higher in fiber, lower in calories, and also they're great for digestion. They're great fiber source. So I, alhamdulillah, did not have any digestion or bloating issues in Ramadan, which I'm very blessed. And I think a big part of that was eating basil seeds and having basil seeds in my liquids. Like you just soak them in water, and then you let them sit for 10 minutes, and then you can put as much water as you want on top of it. You can even add it to yogurt. So as long as it's called deactivation, so you got to kind of soak it in a little bit of water, let them bloom, let them activate. And then afterwards, you can add them to any medium that you like. But overall, that's that. And then another thing I would do is like I would focus on water, trying to get water, but not just water. I would focus on hydration. You want to know the difference between water and hydration? Well, the difference is hydration comes from electrolytes plus water. Water alone is not hydration. Okay. So far too often we just chug water in Ramadan. Problem is you just pee it all out. You know what I mean? Your body just pushes it out. Electrolytes are magnesium, potassium, sodium. They keep water in the body, which is good for you, right? So instead of just peeing it all out, you end up like actually retaining that water, which is actually going to help you stay hydrated during the day, which is super helpful. So focusing on water, salt balance. So like, you know, now let's say it's time to break the fast. So lately, like yesterday, I believe we broke our fast at 7:42 p.m. So now I stopped eating for sahur at around 6:15 a.m. And now it's been 13 or 14 hours later. I'm about to eat at 7:41 p.m. in the evening. So then I always broke my fast with a date. And then I would always have like fruits cut up. My family, my mom would cut it up for us. And then, yeah, those fruits were almost always like grapes, oranges, apples, pears. We added kiwis. Kiwis are a phenomenal fruit, by the way. And then blueberries. And then I would sprinkle some salt on it. So I'm breaking my fast with almost entirely fruits. And then I would have my coconut water with basil seeds just for quick hydration. And then I would go pray Maghrib. This Ramadan, we also started praying Maghrib as a family. So we'd always pray together. I would be the imam. I would lead the prayer. So that always felt good, right? Like family reasons. And then now it's around like, you know, anywhere from 8 around 8 p.m. that I'm done with the prayer. Now, the Isha prayer, the last prayer, the Taraweeh was at 9:30, generally around 9:30. So I have about an hour and 15 minutes to get my workout in, get some activity in, and do that. So during that time, that's when I would just come down to my home gym in the basement and I would do strength training. And sometimes I wasn't able to do my entire workouts because I didn't have enough times, but I would still do a 10-15 minute workout. I would still do like 2 exercises out of the 5 that day. I would still get something in. And then once a week, I would also go out for a run. So outdoors run for 2 miles or so. The first week or so, it was hard. Like I remember I started running and I was like, man, I'm so dehydrated. I'm not feeling the run today. But I did as best as I could. But over time, it got better. Like I remember the run I did 2 days ago, 3 days ago, felt really good. It was like very doable. I was like, hell yeah, this feels good. I'm getting better at it. But yeah, I try to almost always, even though I taught you guys that there are 5 best times to work out during Ramadan, right? Before suhoor, after suhoor, before iftar, after iftar, and after Tarawih or Isha. But for me personally, this Ramadan, post iftar worked the best. So this is like right after around 8 p.m. I've broken my fast. I can drink water. Sometimes I would even make myself a espresso shot. So I would just like take an espresso shot, get my workout in, and then I would go to the mosque and pray for an hour with the Tarawih with the Imam. So that's what I was doing. And then yeah, break the fast. I try to go to the mosque as often as I could. I wasn't able to go as much as I wanted to this year, just due to scheduling and yeah, just yeah, it's probably an excuse. I could have made time for it. But I prayed at home, which was nice. And the days I did make it to the mosque, the parking lot was so full. So that I was like, man, I'm late. But a lot of the time it was very refreshing. I still made it to the mosque at least 2 to 3 times a week. And there's like a few mosques in our area. So again, systems over motivation. So the mosque that's closest to me, is much smaller versus the mosque that's like 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away. That one is so beautiful. So beautiful. And it always feels the nicest to go there, but the parking lot is so full and there's so many people there. So oftentimes I would just like mentally talk myself out of it. Probably because decision fatigue. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to decide where to go. Like I'll just pray at home. So that now I'm just reflecting on my own Ramadan. But overall, I was able to train 3 times a week. I was able to walk about 5,000 steps every day during the day with my walking desk or outside. I prioritized electrolytes, coconut water. I also, like, at times, if I didn't have coconut water, this is a real good at-home hack for a lot of you. Just take a lemon, squeeze a lemon in a glass, throw some Celtic or pink Himalayan salt in that glass, and then add water to it. Mix it all up, drink it. So now you have water plus pink Himalayan salt and lemon squeezed, all of it. That's really good for you. And that's like a at home, like, 20-cent option for those of you that don't want to buy like fancy electrolytes. Another thing is like the cost of electrolytes have really gone up. Yesterday I was at the grocery store and I was looking at Liquid IV or, LMNT and all these packets, right? It's basically like, I think they have magnesium glycinate. They have different salts in it. But basically each packet is $2 almost. $2, a little packet, $2. And I'm like, I don't know why this feels just expensive. You know what I mean? And if you like, yeah, like LMNT is a great one, and so is Liquid IV. But Liquid IV, what bothers me about Liquid IV, they have 11 grams of added sugar in one packet. I ended up getting Liquid IV yesterday because I was like, I just don't have time to like wait for Amazon order. But I bought it at the grocery store and they only had Liquid IV. But the point being is, you can get maybe 80% of the same stuff with just lemon, pink Himalayan salt, and water, and add in some basil seeds, and now you're amping it up. So overall, those are the things I did. In the past Ramadans, I would focus primarily on protein. This Ramadan, I still had protein. So after, for example, I forgot to mention. So after I worked out and after Tarawih, I would come home and I would have my big meal of the night. So that's where I would have, sometimes rice. I would have my meal prep chicken. I would have some chicken livers. I would have some beef if I like different proteins, whichever, depending on the day. And then I would have some form of a vegetable, even avocados. Recently, last night I had half an avocado. Avocados are a great source of fiber, but also a great source of magnesium to help you sleep better, and have a lot of other good qualities. But overall, that's what I would eat, like a nice big meal. And then I would walk for like 5 minutes or so just around the house to digest the food, go upstairs to my room, and then I would try to fall asleep. Sometimes I got distracted on Instagram reels and watch those for 30 minutes. But overall, that's been my day in and day out routine, waking up around 5:30 and doing it again the next day. And overall, that's felt really good. And I still had to like be very productive. I think in the past, I was always productive during Ramadan, but in the past, it was like this mental checkout. Whereas like during Ramadan, I couldn't try as hard. I just felt like, man, I don't have as much energy. I'm not as sharp. But alhamdulillah, like this Ramadan, I was able to like not use that. And I was able to get it done and realize like, okay, I won't be 100% of what I normally would be, but I can still give myself 90% and still get the most important things done. And yeah, and there was a few days when like I had something really important to do at work that I didn't have the brain power to do during the day. I would just like save it for post-Iftar. I'm like, yeah, I'll make 20 minutes and I'll make sure I don't mess this part up. So I'll have my best energy at that time. So overall, yeah, this has been a really, really fun Ramadan so far, and it continues to be, and we still have another week or so, inshallah. So I hope it's going well for you, and I hope we can look back on this episode and learn the lesson and continue to get better. Because one of the things you can use Ramadan for is to gauge how you were spiritually and with your faith last year, because every year you grow as a person, and hopefully you are growing if you're listening to this. So every year reflect, right? When it comes to progress in life, progress comes from two things: pain and reflection. So if you have both of those, right, sometimes you try things that don't work, that gives you pain. So use that pain to reflect. It's like, okay, what can I learn? How can we improve? And continue to ask yourself those questions. Like my Ramadan plan seems really good, but I know I can still improve on it. I can still make some changes. I can still get better on this. So inshallah, when I'm listening to this next year or after Ramadan, I'll be like, yeah, I think that was one thing I didn't add last year. I can totally add that this year. Because it's all about creating small systems, right? Just like my suhoor meal was a system. I did the same things. I ate very similarly. And then iftar was almost very similar, unless I was eating out or dinner with family. But overall, I try to keep it as consistent, because systems are consistent. Motivation goes up and down, right? So like out of all the successful people I know, they live a very routine life. They have very simple routines. They follow those routines, right? And if you can get yourself to follow routines and just get in the habit of doing that, you'll get way further than if you're always changing things up. Now, last thing, after Ramadan, fitness does not stop. So we continue to, make progress in our fitness goals. But if you're somebody that, you were busy during Ramadan, you had too much going on during Ramadan, and now after Eid, now we're only like 2-3 months away from summer. We're in spring, right? So summer is coming, and a lot of you have summer goals, and a lot of you want to look good for summer and want to feel the best. So if you want that, if you want to be part of our summer plan, just go ahead and message me the word summer plan, and then we'll give you more info on how we can help you, inshallah, and work with you. So we can use the months leading up to summer the best way possible. We'll build your workout plan. We'll coach you one step at a time. We'll literally guide you with nutrition. It's one-on-one coaching. That's what my company and I specialize in. And we don't have sponsors for Healthy System, but literally the only sponsor for this is our own fitness coaching program, which is Training with the Titans. And you can get more information on it if you just go to our website at twtt.us. And you'll see like all the stuff in there. But overall, yeah, don't let this summer go to waste. You still have time. 12 weeks is a long time. I've seen massive transformations happen within 12 weeks, right? So at the end of the day, we still got time. I know for a lot of us, Ramadan, we are mentally tired. We're mentally exhausted. We're hungry. We're thirsty. The last thing we're thinking about is weight loss, right? You just forget to think about it. You're so busy with family stuff. And I know a lot of you have busy careers and families. So at the end of the day, now that inshallah Ramadan will be over in a week and it's the post-Eid era, let's make sure by the time Eid al-Adha, the second Eid comes, you're in great shape. Your clothes are fitting better. You are feeling greater. You are feeling stronger. Because at the end of the day, Islam does tell us to prioritize our health. So we can pray all day. We can worship all day. But if we are negligent with our health and we have lifestyle dependent diseases, we're not as useful to our religion. We're not as useful to our families, and we're certainly not as useful to ourselves. So let's get you stronger. Let's get you healthier. Let's get you in shape. And if you want our help and you want more information, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. You can just message me the word summer plan, and then we can give you more info. Or you can just go to our website at twtt.us for more information. And this is perfect time to lock in that summer body and that mental health that's going to serve you for the rest of the year, because there's no perfect time to start your fitness journey. You're going to have to just start. And if you start, I promise it gets easier, because if you wait for the perfect time, it's never going to come. So hope this helped. Hope this reflection was good. And if any of this resonated with you, I love getting messages from you guys. So whenever somebody messages me on Instagram or Facebook, they're like, Mo, I listened to that last episode and I love that thing you said. It makes me so happy. So please feel free to share if something resonated with you. Maybe one of the lessons, maybe one of the things from the meal plan, maybe from the exercise or running or any of that. Feel free to share that with me. It means the world. It means the world. That means like, okay, like all of you actually are listening. Because I know a lot of people listen, we look at the numbers, but it hits different when I hear from one of you. So please message me, let me know how you're liking it, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Systems podcast. I really appreciate you for tuning in today. Now, here are 2 ways I can help you for free. One, you can join our free Facebook community by just going to this link, bit.ly/Titan Facebook group. Just type that into your browser and then answer 2 questions, and then we'll let you into our Facebook community where you'll meet other people, as well as we have a lot of free resources in terms of meal plans, workouts, all kinds of stuff in there. Second way I can help you for free is if you follow me on Instagram at Moe Ghias, MOE, G as in George, H as in horse, I as in India, A as in apple, S as in Sam. Follow me there and then shoot me a message with the word Healthy Systems, and then I'll be sure to send you a free gift. Other than that, keep listening in, and I really appreciate you.